Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to a brand new month. In this video, we're going to explore the astrological influences of what's happening up in the heavens and how we can lean into the gifts of Mother Earth to help us thrive during these times by working with her crystals and her essential oils. Now, I want to kind of talk about a context of something that's just happened at the end of October. On the 30th of October, Mars went into retrograde. Remember, we talked about that last month. Mars is about our drive, our determination, our progression, our sexual lust, all those kind of things that keep us going. And when Mars goes into retrograde, that can fall away, allowing us to see what we're truly passionate about and what drives us forward without needing that kind of ongoing burst of motivation from Mars. So that's going to kind of be kind of surging through us or impacting us as we are kind of stepping into November as well. Now, the first thing that's significant happening in November is on the 1st, we have a major asteroid going into retrograde. This is Hecate. Now, Hecate is named after the Greek goddess of wisdom. She was someone who saw everything and knew everything that happened on the earth. And we lean into Hecate for her wisdom. She's sometimes known as the goddess of witches or the goddess of the wish or the wise. She's the all-knowing. And so when Hecate goes into retrograde, what I find, because she's all about wisdom, is we start to doubt our own wisdom. You may have this drive or this kind of yearning to seek answers or to check in with other people about what do they think. Or you may even have this kind of calling to go and get a reading, a clairvoyant reading or a medium reading or something like that to just kind of clarify your answers. But what you will often find is as you're speaking to friends or people that you respect, or as you're getting a reading, they'll say things that either resonate with you or don't resonate with you, and you'll know your truth. If you've got a really good reader, you'll kind of walk out of there going, yeah, okay, I know exactly what they mean by that because I already knew that. So a lot of the time we're just seeking confirmation from other people that are going to tell us what we already know. What is the lesson of Hecate retrograde? It's to actually realize that we are our own answers. We know the answers and we can find them as well. So this is a chance for you to realize that you don't need to rely on other people, that you just need to find silence and listen to yourself a little bit more. Now, this is where Hecate is also associated with the moon. She's the goddess of the moon, and so you can lean into your moonstones, but more so, black moonstone. Now, white moonstone is very much about that vision and yes, intuition, but black moonstone encourages a bit of silence and introspection. You know your answers, and Hecate helps us to find that, especially during this retrograde when we're doubting that we know the own answers. There's one of my favorite sayings that our conscience is the voice of the gods within us. Are you listening to what you truly know? Those are the answers you seek. Working with magnolia essential oil, a very old species of tree. In fact, magnolia's trees used to rely on beetles to pollinate them because bees weren't even around. That's how old they are. Magnolia brings this kind of crone, this wise mother, this elderly woman, the queen mother knowledge, and kind of allows us to, when we relax, because magnolia is a very relaxing oil, when we ease into that oil and work with it, we find those answers as well. So if you're starting to doubt the direction, you're not sure what you're passionate about, all these different types of things start coming up, then around this retrograde of Hecate, really lean into that and allow yourself to find your own answers. And black moonstone and magnolia will help you with that. Now, you may have been celebrating Halloween on the 31st of October, but did you know it wasn't Halloween then? Halloween is a evolution of an old pagan festival known as Samhain, spelled Samhain, and I have another video on my channel if you'd like to learn more about that. Samhain is the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice, and is believed to be the day when the veil between our realm and the other realms are at their thinnest. This is the great time to let go of those that have passed in the last year, to bid them farewell, and to start bringing on that healing. It's also a time when we can connect with our guides, with our totems, with our angels, and feel that kind of resonance as well. This can be a really challenging time for some of us because we are reflecting, and it's when I will get out photos of my father and my friend who has passed, my grandparents, even my beloved cat Ava who passed in June. And this is when I'll look at letting go of that and letting go of those relationships. And you can also look at letting go of things that are currently in your life as well. Because as we let go and as we go into those winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere, what you're going to find is that you're going to bring in new, but you can't grab hold of a new branch of a new tree if you can't let go of the old one. So here we work with Chiastolite. Now, this beautiful crystal, you can see, sorry, the light shining on it, but it's brown and it has this black cross in it. That forms naturally, and it almost signifies the wheel of life. Chiastolite teaches us and helps us to understand the processes of birth, death, and rebirth. And the wheel of life is always turning. We can't stop it. But being a brown crystal, it helps ground us into that. It's a really great one to reflect on death. And as morbid as it sounds, I like going to funerals because it reminds me how valuable every moment is. That we can't always spend all the time we want with certain people, and to treasure every moment. And so it brings this new appreciation and allows us to let go of those things that we can't have anymore. Associated with death is Cypress. Cypress is from the Greek myth where Cypress, the beautiful young man who was a lover of the god Apollo, accidentally killed his stag deer when throwing a javelin, asked Apollo to let him go into the underworld. Apollo didn't want him to, so he turned him into the cypress tree. Roots going into the underworld and the tree pointing up to the heavens so Apollo could still be close to Cypress. Cypress essential oil is a really great one for helping in the body, things to flow properly, all fluids. Emotionally, it helps tears to flow. And in life, it brings emotional liberation when we let go of those things that it's time for them to die and bring in the new. So that's what we focus on in Samhain. Now that's in the Northern Hemisphere. That's your Halloween. And remember, it's always going to be a different date. It'll be near 31st of October because All Saints' Day was, the 1st of November, which I think it was Pope Gregory III said that many, many centuries ago. And then he made 31st All Hallows Eve, which became Halloween in that way. And I've got a video on that as well. If you'd like to learn a little bit more of that, check out the Samhain one. Okay, but maybe you're in the Southern Hemisphere. It's not Samhain, it's definitely not Halloween for you. Your Halloween would be around April 30th. It is Beltane. So whereas we're letting go and it's all about death in Samhain in the Northern Hemisphere, we have the counter in the Southern Hemisphere right now celebrating birth and love. Beltane is the festival which marks the midway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. This is a time when we celebrate love. This is when traditionally couples would disappear into the forest and make love, or there'd be hand fastings where two people would bind themselves together with rope in a ceremonial way to commit to be together with each other for a year and a day, to then come back the following year and decide whether they wanted to commit to each other for the following year again. Isn't that cool? So this is a great time it's kind of like a Valentine's Day. It's a great time to celebrate love, loving yourself, realizing that you're worthy of love, and also showing love to other people. Giving love to the things that we're passionate about, that we're starting to realize that we're passionate about, so that they can nurture and grow. So whereas Samhain is letting go, Beltane is encouraging things to grow and to develop in that way. Now, what I really love to work with around this Beltane is I'm inspired to encourage everyone to work with Tugtupite. Now, Tugtupite is a stone that's found in Greenland. It's normally just white and black, but when you put it in the sun or in either your body heat, the pink flares up. The Inuit legend is said that 2 lovers will be enough to ignite the fire in Tugtupite by itself without it seeing the light of day. Isn't that cool? But it helps awaken the love and the passion within us. Not just romantic or a passion for a lover, but passion for life. And this works in with this Mars retrograde where we're waning a bit of motivation and helping to reconnect with what actually truly inspires us without needing that motivational burst. How can you give more love to your life? Tugtupite will help you to do that. And it's going to be a really great one as you kind of bring love into your life, receiving love, giving love, just letting love flow. That's all what Beltane's about. The oil that I recommend working with is Cistus. Cistus essential oil is an amazing essential oil. Did I grab the right one there? I did, yes, Cistus. I need my glasses on. Cistus is an amazing plant, sometimes known as rock rose. It gives us a couple of oils, cistus and labdanum. Cistus normally comes from the leaves, but the rock rose plant, or the Rose of Sharon plant, it drops its seeds, but they don't germinate the next season. They germinate after fire comes through. So it's about that regeneration, that resurrection, bringing out the new in that way. And so Cistus really helps us to find new ways of loving. There's a big theme this month of kind of finding new ways to do things, new things that we're passionate about, new things that help us to do that and bring that love with Beltane. Now, the following day is really, really exciting because going on from either Beltane or Samhain, whatever you're celebrating, depending on which hemisphere you're in, on the 8th, we have a full moon in Taurus. Now, this is a special full moon, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. A general full moon in Taurus. Taurus governs financial and material well-being. And so this is a time when we might do workings or visualizations or witchcraft or spell work where we want to bring in more money and have that financial security. But this is going to be a special full moon in Taurus. Why? Because there will be an eclipse and we'll get a blood moon. Now, if you are in Japan, in parts of Russia, in the west coast of North America, you'll see the full scale of it. If you're in Australia, the other parts of America, both the Americas, through most of Asia and Europe, we'll see most of the eclipse. Unfortunately, those in the UK may miss it, and kind of Western Europe might miss it as well. But anyway, the energy is still there even if you don't get to witness it. The cool thing is blood full moons are about getting in touch with what our passions are, what courses through our veins. So if we tie this Taurus energy about money and its passion, what does that bring? This is a time to work out, not just I want more money so I can pay my bills, or I can pay off my loans, or pay off my mortgage, or I can go on a little holiday. It's like, how do I bring and how do I attract the right money I need to fulfill what I'm passionate about in my life? Doesn't that work perfectly with this Mars retrograde that's happening throughout November that kicked off on the 30th of October to inspire us to, this is what I'm passionate about and this is what I'm going to do. You know, I know for me personally at the moment, I'm really focusing on how do I just spend my money on what I really want and not frivolously spend it on things that give me short-term gratification. How do I get that long-term satisfaction? And this is where we kind of can, you know, being an earth sign, Taurus, we can program a crystal. A really great crystal for this would be a star ruby, which has the little 6-pointed star that glides across it when a single light hits it, and bring that passion into your life of like, right, how do I do that? Or plant some seeds and program them, and check out my videos on how to do that as well. All this is a really great thing to do of like, how do I bring money in to fulfill my passions and my loves and what I really yearn to do? There's no better oil when it comes to passion than rose. So grab your rose. Remember, the flowers open us up, and this will open us up to that divine magic of what's happening around that full moon with that blood moon energy. Really tie them in together and go, right, that's what I want to do. Now you're going to get a little bit of a break for a little while, because then it's not until the 23rd of November that something significant happens. Jupiter's been in retrograde for a few months now, and it's going to go direct, so it's going to start looking like it's going the right way in the sky. When a planet goes direct, it brings its energy back. So while it's been in retrograde, Jupiter is about expansion, luck, and growth and ascension. So you may have found while it's in retrograde that opportunities, circumstances, all these kind of things reduced a little bit. And when Jupiter goes direct on the 23rd, the gates open again. Invites will come back. Opportunities will come back. Clients will come back. All those different type of things will be really quite exciting. Until then, make sure you're preparing the vessel, getting everything in order, everything in check, ready for that opening up on the 23rd. Then you want to start seizing opportunities here. Grab your Sugilite, this beautiful violet crystal that was named after the Japanese petrologist Kenichi Sugi. This is a crystal of universal love, of connecting and being very expansive. Jupiter is a very violet kind of planet, it resonates really well with purple crystals. So this is about expanding and feeling the love of the universe and being open to that, to open to new opportunities and new experiences as well. An oil that is really kind of connected to Jupiter is rosemary. Rosemary is a really beautiful one for helping us to remember why we're here. And when all these opportunities come up, it doesn't mean we have to eat everything on the buffet. We only eat what we truly need, what's in alignment with our passions. And rosemary will help us to stay focused. It's a really great one on the crown chakra. I love it with hair. Add a couple of drops into your shampoo when you're shampooing and conditioning your hair, and it's going to serve your hair for hair health, but also serve that crown chakra and keep you focused on what you need to do now that Jupiter is direct and more opportunities are coming. The following day, we have a new moon in Sagittarius, which is actually ruled by Jupiter. So there's a real Sagittarian, Jupiterian energy around that 23rd, 24th. So really lean into a lot of your purple crystals and your crown chakra things for that expansiveness in that time. The new moon is a time for contemplation, for reflecting, to think about where do we want to go next. For me, Sagittarius is very much about expanding our networks, expanding, it may be travel, long distance travel, it may be going to university. It's through experiences and expanding our networks that we open our mind and we learn more about ourselves and how the world works. So on the new moon, it's a great time to think about, how do I expand my circles in order to expand my mind? What do I need to do in that way? This is where we can work with a beautiful stone known as Astrophyllite. Now, Astrophyllite, when it's tumbled, is also quite black as well. It's quite a dark one, but you can see those beautiful bronze flecks in it. Astrophyllite kind of has this energy of wonderment or awe and helps to evoke that within us. I want you to think about the last time maybe you saw a beautiful waterfall, a massive waterfall, or maybe some, you sat out under the stars, or a beautiful sunset, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. You felt that awe. That's what Astrophyllite helps us to have, not just for phenomena of nature or beautiful aspects of nature, but for life in general. When we have that awe and that curiosity and that wonderment to want to see more, Astrophyllite, and Astrophyllite nurtures this, we then have that desire to do something different with our lives. And so this is where we lean into this in this new moon in Sagittarius. Now you can work with rosemary through to that next day, or beautiful Spanish sage is really good as well. It helps to cleanse away the things that stop us from expanding. It really helps. It's a great grief oil as well. So if we're still dealing with a bit of grief of letting go people and so on, this can be good for cleansing that and going, right, I'm going on that holiday that I couldn't go on before. I'm going to go to that university that I couldn't do before. I'm going to go talk to people that I haven't spoken to before. Cleanse that away and feel really bold and brave. That can be really great. Our final retrograde is on the 30th of November. And this is Pallas Athena, this major asteroid, which is in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, so quite close to us. This is, it's named after the goddess Athena. And Athena is the goddess of war, but she was a tactician, a warrior. She wouldn't go to warfare. She'd try and work out the best solution, the win-wins. So when she goes into retrograde, you'll find yourself starting to question your tactics. There may be tussles between your head and your heart, or you may find people around you are causing a bit of disagreement. This is not a time to get annoyed or to get aggravated. It's a time to reevaluate your journey forward, your tactics and the way you do things. There's lots happening from Mars retrograde, considering what we're passionate about, for Hecate retrograde, thinking about our own inner wisdom and our own knowing, for the full moon in Taurus, about the blood moon, about what we're passionate about. But if we're wanting to bring these changes into our life that we've been getting set up throughout this month of November, well, we need to make sure that we don't just go back to doing the same things. Because if you do what you've always done, guess what? You're going to get what you've always got. So during this time of the Pallas Athena retrograde, it's time to reevaluate our tactics and start trying different things to bring about different results. The crystal that I love for this is amethyst. This is the amethyst I'll be wearing. It's a beautiful Vera Cruz amethyst. Any amethyst will be fine because it encourages us to slow down and just to look, to not be a bull in a china shop or a bull at a gate, to not rush into doing the same things as we did in the past, but to actually reevaluate that and to reconsider that. You want to work then with lavender essential oil, which pairs beautifully with this. Again, encourages us to slow down, to be moderate, and to look at what's going to be the best way forward so that you don't make the same mistakes as before. You want to expand, you want to grow, and Pallas Athena will help us with that, as will the new moon in Sagittarius and Jupiter going direct. So really exciting in that way. One final oil that you may want to work with around the Pallas Athena retrograde is Manuka. Manuka is a native plant to New Zealand, and when white settlers landed in New Zealand, they started to chop down all the natural fauna to clear the land to grow crops, because that's how they knew to grow food. But when they'd burn all this kind of natural fauna, there was one bloody stubborn plant that kept growing back and holding everything together and stopping the soil from eroding. It was Manuka. Manuka essential oil is taken from the leaves, steam distilled from the leaves. It's almost like a super tea tree, and really great physically when we're feeling, when we're burnt, but also emotionally and metaphysically when we feel we're burnt as well. Don't let your passions be driven by anger or frustration. Allow yourself to be excited. Look for win-win situations. And Manuka allows us to take the heat out of a situation where we're frustrated or angry, and then to make plans based on our higher self, our motivated self, the vision of the future that we desire for ourselves. It's a really great one to work with. So there's a lot happening in November. It's exciting though, to really realign with what we're passionate about, to trust our inner guidance system, to let go of what's no longer serving us, and give love to what does serve us, start spending our money on what truly is our passion that gives us the life we want, to expand our circles, to learn more about the world, to embrace the opportunities that come our way and seize the ones that work for us, and to try a different way of doing things. I hope that's been helpful. Lean into the gifts of nature to support you throughout this month, because no matter what's happening in the heavens, Mother Earth loves us. Until next month, for our next forecast, take care, and please, thanks for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm Adam Barralet. Blessed be.